أنا محمد عاصي أقدمكم نفسي أقدمكم في فورية أوبن.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. This is our fifth installment of the He-Ho podcast.
He-Ho.
So tonight we have the ever auspicious, ever green Lady G.
Hello.
You see what I'm talking about here?
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good.
Nice. And this is a very interesting topic that we're going to go on to. But before we do that, I want our guest to introduce herself. All right? The floor is yours. Carry on.
Sure, good night, everyone. My name is Nisa, and I'm here tonight to have some really intriguing and interesting conversation, captivating conversation, rather, about relationships and the way forward.
Excellent.
So let's just get right into it.
Oh, my. Well, look at that.
Toolman,
Yeah.
let the people know how you're feeling.
Yeah, well, I came back off the coal. I have to look across the table at this treacherous person.
We need to let the listeners know who is the treacherous
I'm
person.
talking about G. Yeah. Sometimes there's gay heart to people, sometimes. And there's just betray.
Brother, I hear with you.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear with you.
because men need a space where we could
A safe
space, yeah.
Understood. So we must defeat the forces of shaitan at
Yeah.
all costs.
So as our first disciple, you have I don't know, like a 2-game suspension or some
Fine. You're fine.
something she had to pay.
A simple fine.
And then we'll
She had a
training.
headphone ban or something.
she had to go in a training or something, like mute her mic when she going on a tangent or something. I don't know.
All right, so
Yes, there we go.
getting down to business tonight, we want to talk about the same delusions that men and women carry into relationships. And we're going to start by exploring some topics, issues that kind of prevalent in our society. When I say society, I mean Trinidad and Tobago specifically. And I'm going to go down this road of what effective communication is. You know, this is a very important topic based on sometimes women and men they've been saying you need to communicate better, more from the woman's point of view. So I'm going to pose a question to you, Nisa, and this is coming from some input that we had from listeners in the past, right? So they're kind of interested to know what is a woman's take on her ability to take care of a man in that the communicative way. Women ask men to be more communicative.
Right.
And what we found from just general conversation is that when men actually start being communicative, we're being called sassy, we're being called
Emotional. Yeah.
overly feminine,
Okay.
to say the least.
So what I would say is I have not personally been in a situation where I believe I have been effectively communicated with.
Okay.
So, but what I can say is what I've realized, and maybe this might be going off, but I'll come back to the point. What I have seen in the past with me is, you're getting into relationships, you're getting to know somebody, you're not quite together as yet, you're talking, and men tend to they tend to talk a good talk, they communicate very well in that onset, trying to get into the relationship. And it's kind of like a cat and dog sometimes, right? Where it's like, you listen and you're thinking, oh my God, this person really, he's opening up, he's talking about, you hear him speak about other relationships, and he's able to assess what is going well, not going well in somebody else's relationship. But then fast forward to like maybe 6 months when you're actually in the thing now, and you realize, oh wait, now there's an opportunity for us to effectively communicate about a scenario that happened in our relationship, and you realize, well, he just closed up. And it's like, but where was the person I knew like 7 months ago who was just so expressive about other people's relationship, had such a great point of view? Why am I hearing nothing now? So that has been my experience. What I personally try to do is I try to maintain my calm and just say, look, this is what I want to hear. I try my best. This is what I do. Sometimes I may fly off the handle. I mean, we all do. At some point, oh gosh, when it was a little too far, but that is what I have tried, and sometimes it has worked, sometimes it hasn't. And the thing about it is, I believe that generally the men that I have met, what tends to happen is that, they're okay speaking about other relationships, other people, but when it's time for them to speak about themselves and express how they feel on the inside, it becomes difficult. So at the end of the day, you're looking at someone, you believe that they can effectively communicate, but really and truly they don't know how to speak about themselves and how they feel. And as a female, now what you have to try to do is you have to try to kind of get them to convince themselves that they can express, and this is a safe space, and that in itself is a process. And I also think it's something that to get a man to speak, it's different for everyone. So there's no one fix. So I can't just say, oh, this is how we fix effective communication in men. It doesn't work like that. You have to look at your partner and say, okay, how can I get this person to express more, speak more? And it's not something that you could do in a week. It's not something you could probably do in 3 months. It's something that you have to continuously, you have to continuously work toward. And sometimes it may look like, oh, he just communicated, and then sometimes it look like, okay, he's closed back up again. So it's a delicate balance. That it's kind of like, up and down kind of scenario. But I do feel, in my experience, that men tend to close up when they have to express their inner thoughts, but they're okay speaking about other relationships. Oh, he should have done that, and why he didn't talk more, and da-da-da. And they have all the correct answers, but not necessarily for their relationship.
Yeah. So we had to find somebody again with that phone ring, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, phone on. Everybody phone on silent, right? I should have done that at least that way, but
how bad. So we're moving on to Incredible G. Your thoughts?
So I personally have an issue with communication.
When you say you have an issue with it, is it that your communication?
Expressing myself.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Can I get a high five? Thank you.
I definitely don't have that problem.
All right.
No, take my high five back from you.
Okay, so when you say you have an issue with communication, you don't like to open up as much.
No, I don't, and I don't like if there's an argument, I don't like not necessarily confrontation, but in my mind, I kind of like it's confrontation.
Conflict.
Right?
Yeah.
So for me, I kind of just, which is bad, I pull back, which will have an issue with the person because they wouldn't want to open up to me because I'm not opening up to them. It's something that I am learning to
fix.
To fix, because you need to have that balance. And if it is, you want somebody to be open to you, I mean, in return, you have to be or should be open to that person as well.
Okay.
So.
So, here we go. So, as Nisa pointed out, she said to us that men, correct me if I'm wrong here, they, in the honeymoon phase, tend to be quite open and honest about certain things.
Yes, and the caveat is in my experience.
That is, of course.
Yes.
Definitely. So in this honeymoon phase, I want to highlight something to women that you guys might be missing.
Okay.
There's a big E word. The word starts with E. It's called empathy. All right? Now, empathy could go both ways. What I'm willing to put forward to the table is that women are not as empathetic to men's plight as they could be. Okay? Now, here we go down the Twilight Zone.
Oh, thank you. I like the fact that everybody understands the song right there.
Yes.
That song has so many memories.
So many. So I'm going to draw a scenario here to you. Okay? The scenario being, when a man is in a romantic relationship with a woman, there are certain things that are required of him and certain unspoken things are also required of him. So men are kind of required to be stoic in many ways. And the double standard or the double comparison of that now turns into a man having to be stoic at the same time as being an open book and being emotionally intelligent and letting it all hang out there for open and honest communication to take place. That is added pressure on a man. Okay? So the empathy that I was speaking about would be in understanding that just for the simple fact that he has decided to stand in the way of a bullet for you as your man, it kind of puts him in a situation where he can't not ever go out on his shield. He always has to remain this force or this former strength and stoicism in a relationship.
Okay.
So I could liken it to dogs. We women are not dogs. Do not ever think I said that. But I could liken it to dogs because we all mamas at the same time. And when you have the responsibility of leadership, the responsibility of provision, the responsibility of protection, there's not much that you could do in terms of having this, your ward or the person that you're responsible for understand that sometimes you just can't say it. Sometimes you just have to deal with it. Because when you say it, the emotion starts turning it into a different story altogether. So I'll break it down even further for you. Your significant other can't pay a bill. And he comes to you and he wants to say, baby, oh gosh, I can't pay this bill. You know. But the conversation last week was, I can't take this financial problem that we're in. And I want to do this and I want to do that. And you're basically showing him that you require a little bit more. And here he comes trying to tell you that he's failing at that. In his head, it is much better to keep silent about it, probably do some ungodly activity to get it, than come to you and make you see him fail at being the leader and protector.
Show weakness.
Show weakness.
Yeah.
So when a man, I would argue, shows weakness, that in itself breaks down your receptiveness towards this said person in the future.
Respect.
Right? So it's called keeping frame. And all men are supposed to know that keeping frame in a relationship is more important than being communicative. And this is the controversial aspect of it. Go through.
Simple thing like this. You go, well, yeah, you've been on dinners before, right? Some people have asked you to go, hey, let's go on dinner. For some reason, Republic Bank or whatever for citizens doesn't work. For that reason, like the system down. They pull the card, pay, declined. What's happening then? What's your first instinctive thought when I hear no money? Align or no?
But
To be honest, no, that's not my first
What-
instinctive thought.
What's your first instinctive thought?
Okay, there's some kind of bank situation. I mean, I'm an accountant. I know things could happen, you know, and I would just say, hey, it's not seen, you know, I'll cover the bill. And
so let's
Next
say this
time.
happens 2 or 3 times.
consecutively, you might probably, I mean, I've never been in that scenario, but let's just say if we, for conversation's sake, that happens, let's say 3-4 times consecutively, I'm like, okay, something seems fishy here. Is he doing this on purpose? Possibly, you start asking yourself those types of questions. But yeah,
But you view him dips in terms of, okay, when I ask you to
well,
go,
dips from the perspective of, okay, you're not being honest, you know, and at the end of the day, you know, you're saying that, so what Kibo had mentioned there just now was, okay, so
Agent K.
Agent K, my
Yes.
bad. So
you
what
just put him
Agent
on
K,
whole government.
Whole.
Great.
so what Agent K mentioned just now was that, you know, the male is in a scenario where he cannot afford, he's feeling a little bit less than a man, so he doesn't want to express it. But then what this scenario that we just explained here, where somebody is for the 4th time basically acting like kind of creating some sort of ruse. Basically, that to me, it's not the same scenario, right?
Right.
This person is basically in some way showing me, hey, I can't do it and I'm okay with this. And I am trying to, once again, and I keep using the term, trying to give me a cat and bag.
Okay, so I'm a CPAP worker. Hypothetical. Why you laugh? You see?
Why you keep laughing at my partner? Since last week, she was laughing.
No, that's what I'm saying. So, okay, I'm a CPAP. I work CPAP.
Right.
You are a big accountant.
Right.
I watch well kept together, wherefore we are around the same age. So, what you're instinctively telling me is you not going to take no doubles because that's all I can afford. I can afford 2-3 doubles.
Yeah,
with
I
my,
love doubles, you know.
you see the lie. You see the
Nisa.
when
I'm
last,
telling you, every
when is
Sunday
it-
my father and I go.
when is the last
Nisa,
time
did you rather
a
have
man
some
has taken
doubles?
you out on a doubles date?
Oh, many times. My boyfriend and I go on doubles dates all the time.
This is all right. So this is where I might have to interject. Right?
I'm finding this.
This is where I might have to
remarkable.
interject. Right? Okay. So everybody's standards different.
Right.
All right.
Of course.
And there are things that being in your position you might not need.
Yes.
So let's look at it from the point of view of a woman who doesn't have your level of means.
Yeah. So, and I agree with that because I can basically, I'm a very independent woman. I can do what I want whenever I want to do it. I don't depend
You
on
go, girl.
anyone. You know what I mean? So for me, I am when I look at relationships, I am not looking at a man to provide for me necessarily. You know what I mean? Obviously, if it is, let's just say we're going to reach the point of marriage and, you know, all these good things, you know, you want to be able to work together to some sort of unified position. But at the end of the day, I'm not looking for that person to solve my financial problems or to give me money or to do anything for me. And that's just my my scenario.
Okay, so answer me this then. What are your thoughts on the gender roles? Meaning that men traditionally are protectors, providers. Women traditionally are the matrons of the household. Traditionally. In terms of putting our strengths together as man and woman, what you're basically saying to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you are capable of providing the both roles within a relationship.
Well, that's not exactly what I'm saying.
All right, okay.
So, from a financial perspective, you know, in terms of creating opportunities for myself, I can do all of those things for myself. However, what I would say is, when I'm in a relationship, I look to my man to be some sort of protector at the same time, which I don't necessarily think I can do for myself in all scenarios.
Okay.
You know, so from that perspective, the gender role for me, I am looking at a male to be somebody who will have my back, somebody who will protect me, somebody who, you know, will kind of jump in, not necessarily to take a bullet. I'm not asking anybody's son to take a bullet from me, but just saying that, you know, to defend me, to defend my honor when the scenario arises, or if it does.
So are you willing to mind the CPAP worker? Why did you laugh? Why are you
No,
laughing?
I'm not laughing because we came back to the CPAP
No,
worker.
so because I'm working for...
Not just mind the CPAP booker, take care of the CPAP booker financially.
But that's what I'm talking about,
Right.
mine.
So I want to say yes and no. Yes, from the perspective of, okay, if and I've been in this scenario before, if I am with somebody and I realize that, okay, you are in a bit of a, let's call it a sticky situation currently, and you're working, there are a lot of things happening, you're working on your business, you're investing in things, money is tied up, you know, if I need to be that financial support, let's say for a year, 2 years, whatever the agreed upon time is, I have no problem doing that. However, I have no intention of doing that for the rest of our lives because we have a conversation and we say, okay, you know, hey, I'm investing in this, I'm doing this, and I have goals and ambitions, but I expect you to get yourself out of a particular scenario and continue to advance in life. So if you're a CPAP worker now, no problem. What are you saving towards? Because you cannot be doing that for the rest of your life, in my book.
Why not?
In my book, because you have to want more for yourself. You have to be ambitious.
I want us to live in a mountain, in a shack,
Subsistence.
Rastafari, Jah Rastafari.
Okay, well then, very bluntly, I can't do that.
No, but I love you.
No, that's great.
No, I love you.
And that's perfect. However, you need to find a woman who will love you and be okay with that. Because at the end of the day, love is not everything.
I just want...
Shut.
I just want Indrani, and I just want to sing. I want to sing the Indrani song, and
Not the journey.
it's not.
Yeah, that tune.
And go in the bush and grow my locks because you see it growing out now, and that's what I want to be about. And then you don't even have to mind me, but we're going to be living off of nuts.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
And
bunch
cashews.
of children in the forest, and you're gonna have a love circle like Rashot.
Yeah, that's
I
what
mean,
I want.
I'll give you a little
And forget
joke.
about your accounting. You're just going to be content sharing.
I'll give you a little joke. I make a joke with my boyfriend all the time. And I always say, I said, let's just quit our jobs and live on love. All the time.
Is he in the same field?
No, he's not. So he's in kind of like IT and agriculture. He kind of straddle both fields, right?
All right. Okay.
So he has his own thing going, and I always, because we both of us get very busy at times. So even sometimes it may affect, how often we see each other. Even though we might see each other, might be for a shorter time frame, things like that. And I always make this joke, let's just live on love. And he's always say, how are we going to buy groceries? And I say, we'll work it out. Let's just live on love.
Farming.
Subsistence.
It's called farming.
See? So when we start looking at it from that point of view, we start seeing that definitely there's a strict divide between men and women when it comes to relationships. I have never met a woman who's willing to take care of a man financially until she passes from this plane of existence. She's not willing to do so. However, us men, we really don't have much of an issue with taking care of a woman. Some of us want to take care of multiple women, but
Yeah, so we
she go on and give it shots.
We went a little far there.
No, but we are talking for women is a spectrum.
So
Yes.
we talking about it.
And
Stay in a tree,
definitely,
please.
definitely, what we have to remember is that with that being the status quo, that we must now understand there's a leader and there's somebody who follows the leader.
Right.
All right. So in as much as the female in the relationship would want things to be a certain way, I argue, for it to actually go the way it was ordained to go, there must be some form of rule
Right.
of the relationship that the man sets. Okay, so if he comes tomorrow and says, I want you to stop working because I'm making money now, and I want you to depend on me, everything you need.
I'm not doing that.
Yes.
Whoa.
So, give me something. Just give us something.
No,
Just in Twilight Zone.
I don't know. Yeah, we going down. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Yeah, that's not. So it can release the Kraken now.
Let the Kraken go.
That's some real post
Go ahead.
colonial. Think about it. Okay.
Post-suffragette.
You would have been raised, I'm assuming, based on. You understand what I'm trying to say? Okay,
Yes,
cool.
yes. Connecting.
Right. In a house with both parents? Or no?
Yes, yes.
And both your parents.
Perfect nuclear family.
Perfect nuclear family.
Yeah.
Which is not common, which is very uncommon
Yes.
in, I guess, other
Yeah,
ethnicities.
yeah.
So your ethnicity would have would have be very patriarchal.
I want to stick up in that just for our listeners' understanding. We are speaking about the ethnic differences in Trinidad and Tobago. And there's no secret that among the East Indian community, families stick together much more.
Yeah.
Okay, so traditionally, correct me again, Nisa, your background would be that you've seen
In
your
the-
father, your mother, and the dynamic there.
Yes.
And he was in charge.
Yeah.
What's this?
From the perspective of, providing for the family and so on, certainly yes.
Right,
But
and then
I'm-
she would have been in the household, that kind of stuff.
Yes,
So-
yes.
And she used to work, and he never used to work. Or-
No, my mom worked growing up, but right now, basically, she's basically a housewife and in the family business with him.
Right. Ideal scenario. Any
Yes.
issues? Ideal scenario, right? But now you're telling me you're an accountant. You probably have a nice accountant for Marcy, blah, 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 blah.
Whoever.
A good corporate. So you are, in essence, who's run Marcy?
Who's?
Joey's Warner,
Yeah.
the CEO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, not Marcy, or whatever, the corporation. Whichever.
A big corporation.
Big corporation. Typically.
Oh, no, I'm not working at
Oh,
Massey.
no,
I
no,
just
I
thought you were
don't.
asking
No,
a question.
No, I don't. Okay. What I'm going towards is that would you prefer it kind of weird. The man loses his control. I want to say control is the word, or dominance or dominion over you, his woman, because you are now taking instruction from basically our next man. In a far-fetched. You understand what I'm trying to say?
So, yeah, I get.
So
So
it's
what
like
you're basically trying to explain.
You're not going to look pretty for
Sorry.
me. Sorry.
Yeah. You go ahead, you go ahead.
You're not going to look pretty for me because you got to look pretty for work, to impress your colleagues, counterparts at work. You get a work husband, you get a work whatever. I don't want you to do this because you have to take instruction from our next person.
Oh,
You understand?
interesting.
You know, you understand where I'm going with it?
I understand what you're going. I just never really thought of it like that, to be honest.
Because then, before, if he was just my accountant working for,
Family business, incorporated.
Yeah. Or whatever it is. And you, because you went to school, cool, whatever. But you are like, yeah. And you come in, hey, babe, our number is kind of down XYZ because XY. We know how come we losing money? And you could show me that working out for both of us. Because our company doing good. But you know in the corporate world where you making a next man empire big.
Basically.
Right.
And then now our split is thing, because like I said, time away.
Right.
Because he doing his thing, you doing your thing, and then you work husband, not saying you do, but you know them kind of things is faster. Yeah, you work wife, and then all of a sudden no, you in the bathroom stall, blah blah blah.
So I mean, we tend to go. We tend to go to the extremes on this show.
That's extremes.
Right?
That's
extremes. That's by no
That's
means
extremes,
Nisa.
No, but that happens.
Yeah, of course it does. Yes.
And that's what I'm saying. To mitigate all of those things now, he is your man because he have dominion over X, Y, Z.
Right.
And I'm knocking you for being you're looking to be a okay accountant to then be a kind of crappy wife because then your time is split with doing our next man duty to our next man thing.
So what I would say is, there's a season for everything at the end of the day. So I just want to kind of go back and then come back to this point, right? So with regards to my parents, for instance, even though my mom is now a housewife, she would have worked and stuff before when we were growing up and so on. But even though she's a housewife now, the person that I am today is mainly because of my mother in terms of me being independent. Because my mom growing up always said, don't ever let any man bust any style on you. I've heard my mother say that to me many times. Don't ever let any man bust, any style on you and that kind of thing. Always be able to say, you could pick up yourself and go if you're in a situation you don't like. You are not depending on a man financially, so you feel you need to stay there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
And then it just ends up with where is it? Damn, I don't have the. I was gonna play the Kiss by the Rose album.
Of course.
Right. So that's point A. Point B, which is kind of coming back to what you're saying from the corporate world and so on, is yes, I can see what you're saying in terms of somebody or some other male, let's assume it's a male leader that has that dominance over you from the perspective of, okay, you need to do what I say. You're kind of, bound by what I'm telling you. You need to work late. You need to stay here and get the work done. And a lot of that happens in the corporate world. However, I have no intention personally to stay in the corporate world forever. So for me, this was my stepping stone. You went to school, you go and you get your job, you experience, you make a name for yourself, and then at some point you make a decision that you want to do something and you want to work for yourself. You want to have your own business. That could look like me having my own business, Nisa Incorporated, or it could look like my husband and I or my boyfriend and I decide, let's go into business together, and then we work together, you know. But I am not allowing him to mind me.
Okay.
So the scenario that somebody asked me, I don't know if it was Agent K or somebody asked me earlier was, if somebody said, hey, stop working, let me mind you, I'm not okay with that. I'm not, because my mother said to me, don't let any man bust any style on you.
My only but rest of that is my grandmother, her mother told her, do not get with a man black like me. Wow. And I'm not even joking. She told me that as a little girl, her mother came to her and said that. So we don't say mother like that. That's what I said.
Good. That's an excellent point. But we want to segue from that point, right? This leading us into something called hypergamy.
Right.
Okay? If you know what that means, right? Hypergamy dictates that women do not look for partners beneath their station in life. Okay? And if you happen to be with somebody beneath your station in life, there's a respect factor that... You okay? Incredible G?
No, she are waiting for that green light to just drop. I look at that. It coming.
If you happen to be with somebody who has been not at your station in life, it tends to drive respect downward. It tends to drive that unison that's supposed to be the dynamic of I would listen to and follow this man's lead downwards.
Right.
Okay? And There is a reason why through our mammalian brains that women are hypergamous, because they are actually trying to find the most suitable mate to take care of their offspring in the most suitable way. So it would need to be just like the eagle will take flight into the air, the female, and drop a rock from a distance and see how good this male is at saving the rock. It's the same way woman will look at a man in terms of the way he carries himself, his nature. And they will be able to gauge from then if this is somebody who I will be able to look up to, or is it somebody that I'm going to settle with. So my advice to women in this scenario is understand your hypergamous nature. Understand it from the point of this is a natural biological process that takes place. We can't really overthink that. So getting with someone in that frame of mind who, yet I don't want to go out on a limb here, but I have to say it. Getting with someone and not being willing to take this man's lead,
Right.
in every aspect of the word, is sort of putting yourself in a place to not really embellish your hypergamy. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right? And that in itself drives a divisiveness in relationships. So there must be a level of humility from both men and women.
Of course.
And if this man comes with a good plan to you, you need to ask questions now. You're not willing to do it, but then you need to ask yourself questions. If I'm not willing to follow your lead, why am I with you? You understand? And if I don't feel safe following you, yeah, mommy say so, but mommy not here now. You know? If I'm not safe with you, then what are we doing in this dynamic of a romantic relationship? You know, and that could also help before we even get into relationships, because women don't see when they go out, the little bus boy, the little fella in the gas station, the one who working in the grocery, the CPAP man,
The nuts man. Yeah.
are actually invisible to them.
Okay.
Yeah? They don't exist in that form of, I can look at you as a suitable mate.
Right.
They're invisible.
Right.
As a matter of fact, the majority of men in our country are involuntary celibate men. So they involuntarily celibate. They don't have access.
Incels.
Incels, you call them, right?
I get what you're saying.
So they don't have access to that female attention based on the fact that women date hypergamously. Okay?
Regardless if they qualify for it or not.
Or not. This is just a fact of life.
Okay.
All right? Now, this hypergamy that we harping on also happens from the point of there's a select number of men who have access to a wider subset of women or a wider set of women. And these men basically are what women judge all men by. So if you happen to meet a well-established CEO who takes care of his wife in a particular manner and she is a maid or a well-taken care of lady, what is it called that word? When a woman is taking care of it, well, all her needs, she's cared for. For want of a better word.
Right.
Naturally, what women will do is look at that situation and say, must be nice.
How come my guy don't do that?
Right. How come?
How come what? Sorry?
My guy doesn't. Okay, so
she compare herself.
yeah, basically. They just went to Paris and France or whatever, just because it's Tuesday, but we saving up for the last 2 years
And we
just
can't
to go
even-
to
we can't even
Tobago.
Tobago.
Yeah.
Or if we go to Tobago,
Oh, okay, Tobago
we
is
can't
a
even buy a
close
bottle of wine in Tobago. We can't even buy a bottle of champagne in Tobago. It's like only white oak.
We may have to like raise the bar a little bit for.
Oh,
because,
so
yeah.
Nisa,
Yeah.
we can't even go St. Vincent.
We can't.
Don't do it that.
we can't-
Don't do it that, please.
Yeah. We can't play Caribana this year.
Yeah, we can't just do random
Or Nottingham
luxurious
Carnival or
things.
whatever. Yeah.
Right, so I'm bringing it back to the point now because it's really getting into what we expect and what is reality. So the reality of the situation is the majority of men in this country are incels,
Right.
involuntary celibates. The majority of women in this country have loftier ambitions than, I'm not talking about you or Incredible G, but the majority of women in this country have lofty ambitions when they think about a partner.
Right.
It's like they have some imaginary man in their head that they gauge against the real men in
The
society.
word
I want
that
to add something that I saw. There's this meme that I saw on Facebook.
Sure.
It said
this
that
meme.
You need the receipts.
we
it
get
said
us
that women are not judging their future partners by Disney fairy tale princes. They're judging their partners by the men in Marvel.
okay. You know,
That's a prime example.
you know, it's the
So you look at Thor, and that's what you want.
they talking about body wise. He has to be outworldly. But the word that
Otherworldly.
yeah the word trying to romance. That's the problem.
Right.
That's the
Romanticism.
problem. Romanticism is the problem.
So we live
Yes.
in a very romanticized world.
Women live in a very romanticized
Yeah, you think
world.
about what you want, and you just you work towards that, and you
Which-
kind of you actually kind of do a little storyline in your head of
Yeah.
where you can
Which is
be
why
and how you could meet him and things that
erotic-
could happen.
erotic novels.
Yeah.
I bring Hallmark.
You see what
Hallmark
we're talking about?
Christmas
Start again,
movies. Hallmark Christmas
Yes,
movies.
yes.
That's the life we all want to live.
And that is not real.
I mean,
That is not real. Thanos.
It is impractical.
It's not real. It's not real.
not no.
It's not real 100% of the time.
It's not real.
So
When
you
we get
can't
into the
do
realm of-
the
It's not
wine
real.
and dine and the roses. You can't do that.
Well,
Yeah, wanna try and then
that
after
in itself is the externalities that don't really matter. Because in the words of the great late Kevin Samuels, it's either you select or you non-select. You think Chris Hemsworth had to come and wine and dine any random woman just like that?
Because he's Chris Hemsworth.
So
But if he wasn't,
then he
not
wouldn't be
select.
have
buff.
to.
Then he wouldn't be buff.
So-
Then he wouldn't be Australian.
yeah.
He wouldn't be
So when you
installed.
say if you can wine and dine me, you're looking at the man based on his substandard frame. You're looking at him as, you're not Chris Hemsworth, so you had to do more.
Oh,
I mean, I
Push
think
back.
I think I would agree with that in terms of generally how the gosh, I don't want to sound, but the average woman might think, right?
Yeah.
You meet somebody like Chris Hemsworth, you know he's Thor. He already checked like 20 boxes there. You don't even need to do anything. You just want to get a conversation. So I could agree with that.
Right.
You know, similarly for somebody who's possibly not famous, you know, we live in Trinidad, maybe there's a rich businessman that you know about, and, you know, he's young, good looking, you know, you're seeing the little IG post, the little Facebook post, and that kind of thing. And
Social proof.
He look, yeah, he
no, what
looking-
she just
he
did there
looking
was made a
suave.
checklist. So we know her checklist. Huh?
No, I'm just
We know her checklist.
I'm
Young,
speaking about the average woman.
Nisa, you did. Okay,
You're just-
okay.
you're just
Nice with the
young.
pull it back. The pull back.
You know, but I agree with the whole what I'm trying to get to is that I agree with your point in that these people generally will have to try they don't have to try as hard because they already kind of make it, you know, based on certain things that people that women tend to have in their mind as, oh, he's this, he's that. Oh, okay, cool. Now I need to go and check out the personality and see.
That's
you know,
after the fact.
That's after the fact.
That's after the romanticized one night stand.
Yes, you know what I mean. He could take me to Paris next week. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So, gentlemen, my brothers, this is your captain speaking. Do not, for the life of your children to come, your existing children, ever think that you could just walk into any relationship with a woman and just be the regular. This is not, you basically being bitch made when that happens. And you need to be a man on your mission, on your purpose, on your grind, so that someone will actually a woman will look at you and follow you in that regard. Anytime you start playing to the romanticized version of life, you will be left in the dust. That was my public service announcement.
By nothing, you will be weeded out the gene.
You know,
pool.
I want to add one more thing just
Sure.
to that because
Okay.
so that's from the male perspective, right?
Hit us.
So no, I'm just kind of thinking about it. Not necessarily a hit. Let's not call it a hit, but from a male perspective, now you men shouldn't want women who only consider those things. From the time that they recognize it, like, oh, okay, wait, now this chick only with me for my money, and there are some men who are totally okay with that, right? Because
The
you know
Sims.
we have the long line of women who just, you know, because you know they feel like they're a dapper or whatever the case may be, but men should not want women who are only that interested, and I'm saying that interested because of their financial standing or their social standing or whatever it is.
The materialistic aspect.
Yeah. So there are women who are too focused on that, and men need to run from those women.
So there is something called the sexual marketplace.
Right.
We have a calculator.
Right? And you come to the car analogy in a little bit. The sexual marketplace is dictated by what the people who demand certain things push. So if I would look at what's happening in the state of our country, me seeing men with money who have women lining up for their money is because the end users want that. So these men have become the wallet, the open wallet. Okay? And they don't necessarily want to be that, but they want sexual access.
Right.
So men want sexual access first and foremost. Without sexual access, they will just be liming with their partners every day, whole day. Right? So for that being said, the price of the woman's forward focus is you need to be the checklist. X, Y, Z. The marketplace asks this man to be this type of individual. And when we come and tell men, you shouldn't be that, what we actually telling them is, listen, we tell you not to be it, but we know you need something.
Right.
And don't do that, but somehow figure out a way to get
this. Yeah.
Right? And that sexual marketplace has a very important role and function in how we actually acquire what we're looking for out of each other. Because women, I don't think their first goal is to have sexual access. You could correct me if I'm wrong.
Or most women.
Most women are already going into a relationship for the sexual access part of it. What they go into it for is more the provision and protection. Is he the celebrity that he says he is the social proof? If your friends say, oh, good, you actually get a man. Things like that.
I would argue that's the relationship, but then enter the next side. The eyes wide shut moment. So you have
Explain that.
the eyes wide shut moment comes from this film called Eyes Wide Shut.
Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Oh, well, oh, God.
Oh gosh, she's Nisa.
Well, so remember when she sit down and they was having a discussion, they were smoking weed on the bed, and then he said, "Now women do experience the same kind of lust or drive for men like how men experience for women," and she's like, "No, well, at that time, when I loved you most in the world, we was at a
Airport or something.
no, like by a hotel, and you didn't notice him, but in the corner of my eye, I saw this soldier, and if that soldier had come to talk to me, that'd be the end of this marriage, and I had loved you most than I had ever loved you in my life." That sent him off on a whole wild tangent and up in some, well, but you catch my point.
Yeah.
So you talking about in a relationship, okay, cool. Long term, wherever I love him, blah, 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 financial status, I'm not going to live in the bush with him. Then it have women now who will come, because remember,
We have a story.
We have a story. It would have women now who will come from foreign countries. They very high professionals. They are very high in whatever their careers or whatever feminism have lied and told all of you. But then they will go and see the man, the same nuts man, the same CPEP worker,
The
from
same-
our
the same
next
Zulu
country.
warrior
The
in
same
that
Zulu
tribe.
warrior. And then say, Chad, hold 1 second.
I'm coming back.
I'm coming back now. And then go and stay with our man in that bush for years.
Yeah.
So this is basically embellishing Asha's point, right?
Two man.
Cool man. We have monkey brains. We are essentially primates. However, we are primates with social contracts. So in conversations, what I've found is that women say one thing and they are aroused by something different. And the arousal is something that is taboo to speak about. You know, where it's okay to say, I want a gentleman, but they still want the same gentleman to be able to turn them into the most
The Titanic situation.
the Titanic situation, right?
I
They want
have-
to slam your hand on
Yeah.
They want to slam romance. Slam their hand on they don't care if the boat is sinking.
get
That's
my
what-
rocks off, and so the
In
arousal
fact, the
aspect.
boat sinking makes it a little more exciting.
Here we
Here
go.
we go. Here we go.
So where we get into the conversation is that arousal is to a woman more important. This is what something she keeps closer to herself than what she would say for social acceptance.
Right.
You know? So men could, from the inception of time, be the most giving, the most caring, the most protective, the most in everything, and still get their heart broken by women. That is due to the monkey brain being based on arousal more than what should be.
Now let's check the anecdotal proof. Has there ever been a male in either one of your lives that was really nice? Wow, he's such a good... And
Quintessential good guy.
Quintessential good guy. What happens to that male? You end up with the guy? Uh-oh.
No, I'm laughing.
Uh-oh.
I'm laughing because of how the tone in which you asked the question. But I'm thinking.
Don't worry, I'll wait.
Lady G,
So-
quiet.
So I was, but we broke up.
Who broke up the relationship?
Me.
Oh, okay. Let's just put that back in the book.
Can I ask why you broke it up?
Used to drink too much.
So you was an alcoholic.
You could say so. And I just couldn't deal.
So the alcohol caused him to lose frame a couple times, and he was like, ick, when that happens.
And that
Yeah.
disgusts
And the
you.
thing is, like, my grandfather was... Yeah. So I just...
Kind of had the little flashbacks.
Ah,
and didn't
yeah.
want to be in.
So did you have any doubt that this man would have been okay with taking care of you?
He may have been. Yeah.
So you didn't have a doubt in your head?
Nah.
So would you say that you broke this man's heart?
I probably did.
No, let's go to the other guest on this panel.
Nisa.
Because she's got enough time to think.
So I mean, I dating someone who just ask me the question again. Ask me the question again, please.
Sure. I'm willing
Please.
to. Go ahead.
I'm saying, has there ever been a male in your life
Right.
from because you went secondary school, all your school was down here, right?
Yeah.
So you went to secondary school. You had interactions with males. There's the guy that probably was buying your chocolate, bring the box lunch for you. I'm not sure if you had box lunch before in your life. No?
She knows what it is.
Yeah, I know what it is.
Oh, my word. What secondary school did you go to?
Vistibella. I went. It's from South, right? Vistibella Presbyterian.
You eat that box lunch before, no?
She didn't eat box lunch. She can tell.
Now, my mom used to
Oh.
pack me little sandwiches
okay,
and things.
okay. Good for you.
Good for you. You were not part of the welfare state.
But yes. But so that same person would have Valentine's Day, one of your male friends would come and buy the chocolates and whatever. But for some reason, he's kind of like my brother. I kind of seem like my little brother. That never happened. You never friend zone. You friend zone him. Don't lie to me.
You must have friends with a man in your past.
I mean, I have, but I mean, to say that, I'm trying to understand the question that you're getting at. I have friend zone people before, of course, right? But are you asking me if this person was the perfect meal or what can be considered to be the perfect meal? Or the most attentive meal, let's call it that. Let's use that adjective instead. The most attentive meal, and I just friend zone him because, he too nice. Is that what you're asking me?
Okay. So what my
Esteemed
distinguished, esteemed colleague,
consigliere.
my wartime consigliere, is trying to ask, is this man had obviously shown signs of wanting to be more than just friends with you.
Right.
And you might have noticed that he coming on a little bit strong, but you don't have any kind of inclination to be that way with him.
Right, yeah. Okay, that has happened.
Okay, hopefully there's a videotape on her face when she was like, right. You saw it, right?
Yes,
Did you see it? Did
I saw
disdain?
it. Yeah, she's like,
yeah, right.
had to be mad.
He disdain.
Yeah, right. So this man would have probably extended himself in so many scenarios.
Okay, so
hoping.
no. I have not experienced that. I have to be honest.
Okay.
I have experienced people who are my friends who I would have seen that, okay, there's an interest or whatever, but I nipped that in the bud one time. I do not allow people to go to the extent of, I'm bringing the moon and I'm bringing the stars for her, and and I'm just accepting the moon and I'm accepting the stars, but I know I'm friend zoning him.
Yes.
I've never done that before.
So-
I've never been there.
To your point, this poor guy
Right.
has spent a significant amount of time
Right.
and resources
Right.
to provide you with non-sexual attention.
Right.
Okay? And that in itself, poor fella didn't know he was simping. But again, this is time back into the involuntary celibate situation that takes place. Society tells men a lot of lies. And women alike.
I blame cinema.
Right? Yeah. Hollywood.
So,
Oh. Yeah. She have a rose. She has a that's all.
We'll get to that just
We'll get
now.
to that just now.
All right. So, again, wow. Putting this gentleman on the spot because he's anonymous at this point. Same for you, Lady G. So, be attentive. Here's what's going to happen. There will be some random who will be passing on the main road someday. And you wouldn't have an issue with that man coming to tell you, hello, let's go to a hotel. Now, this is the taboo aspect of it, right?
Okay. This is
Before-
what he's saying. This is
before-
the eyes wide shut scenario.
Okay.
I understand
Before-
it in a relationship.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this is by no means you necessarily.
Right.
Because we gauge in the
Hypothetically.
spectrum.
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically. I think you need to give them the Twilight Zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Now we going down the Twilight Zone.
Right. Here we go. Ending up in a party, any social gathering, I would even argue the supermarket. There would have been encounters and interactions with certain types of men who you would have a lower set of barriers.
Defense.
Yeah, your defenses will be lowered
okay. Yes.
by just being in this person's presence.
Right. Agreed.
If this person,
Chris Hemsworth.
Thor,
We could call him that.
right? We could call him Thor. You
You see the difference in the face. You see the difference in the face. No, it's not like that.
She's like, yes. Now we can talk about this. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you said that because he's right downstairs.
Yeah. Right? So Thor approaches. Hi, Nisa, how you doing? Or he doesn't even have to say how you doing. He just pass and smile at you. And you have palpitations. You talking to yourself like, hey, keep it together, keep it together. That is in many ways the scenario for a few men in the total population.
Okay.
Yeah? Not much men have that experience with women. And that is being,
It's interesting.
yes.
First time you ever heard that?
Actually, yeah.
Yeah. Not much men could safely say when they enter a room, 1 out of the 5 women will drop her panties for him.
Oh, okay. Yes. Okay.
You understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's select and non-select.
You're right.
So there's a Pareto distribution of the top 20% of men having access to the 80% of women.
Right. Got you.
And the bottom 80% of men have to fight up for the 20% reject scraps.
And I had to say it like that.
No,
the
that's
reject,
basically
the
what
ones
it is.
nobody want.
The scraps. Who nobody want to be with, nobody want to claim.
Because they've been used, abused, whatever, and they can't pay a bond properly to people.
So they end up going through the ringer with the bodies and the
Tree trial
Right.
father,
Right.
Yeah.
different spirits on them.
I sort of succubus and thing running along in the night and thing. Right? That is the kind of people the top bottom 80% of men have to deal with in any particular society.
Right.
So think about
That's interesting.
Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth in the top thing, he had to be a movie star. He had to be fit. He had to be blonde. I'm not sure if he's naturally blonde. He had to be all these things just to get
He's
that.
naturally blonde.
You would know.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah. No, but he has to come with a
Yeah.
whole list of prerequisites.
Yes, of
in
course.
order to be esteemed as a top 20% man.
Yeah.
As opposed to the next guy now would have been, this man probably is just as qualified as you in your field of study. He's not as good looking as Chris Hemsworth. He might be as tall, he might be as whatever. However, he'll put you first every time. Your needs come first, and whatever you want, and he could put that teacup on his head. They can drink tea straight off his head. And you will watch that man. Nah.
So I want to disagree with you there, right? So for the purposes of the conversation, let's use Thor, right?
Let's use though.
Let's use Thor. So I go down to Penny Med Pharmacy right there
Okay.
on my lunch hour, working around the area, and I happen to see Thor working
Right.
Penny Med Pharmacy. Yes, okay. is thaw. You know, as you said, your heart starts to do some palpitations. I was like, oh my God, that's so you follow. I just so thaw. You know, he talked to me, he hit my smile, and I blushed and saying, I forget what I come in the pharmacy for.
Yeah, these women now.
Right?
Hear them. Hear the truth.
That is happening.
Go
That is
ahead.
factual. That is going to happen. What I will not agree with is I am not going into that scenario looking at Thor and thinking, oh my God, you know what? I started to devise a plan. How am I going to get a date with him? How am I going to leave here with him? I am not doing that. For me, and this is in my scenario, I walk in the pharmacy and I see Chris Hemsworth, and for me, it's the moment. It's the excitement. And it's like, oh my God, this happened. And he spoke to me, and I probably like about 10 minutes later, I am probably over the high. Maybe a little more than 10 minutes. But I'm just saying, I will get over the high because for me, it was a moment in isolation that was exciting. And, you know, my heart was doing skips and jumps and all this kind of thing. But that is it for me. I am not on a mission in meeting this man. I need to have him. That's not how I see it.
So now Chris Hemsworth now.
So the other guy that you were speaking about, right?
Andrew.
Taylor.
Let's call him Andrew. And you know, so let's just say he checks, you know, he as you said, he's probably has a good career and that kind of thing, and he will do a lot of nice things for me.
Do every nice thing.
But you first.
No man does every nice thing.
No, he is willing to.
Put you first.
He will drink your bath water.
It's a little disgusting.
No, but
Have many women who will do that.
Listen,
And when he talks about you, he is like,
the greatest
she's
thing
my
that ever happened to
goddess. She's my queen. She's.
I would love to be someone's goddess. I just want to say.
I agree.
Gotta believe a word of what you just said there.
No.
She will spit in a man's face. This is
No, I
okay,
wouldn't.
This is haram.
I wouldn't.
Okay. So to get it back on track.
Oh no, I just had the one thing.
One way, yeah, you go
But
ahead.
you talking about the scenario where this is a moment. He didn't act on it. What about if he act on it now? You understand Casanova? It was a real person,
I
right?
understand, but my personality is one where I don't really trust people who have all these boxes checked.
No, listen what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I am not even going to venture because in my mind, it's like, you know what?
Listen
You
what I'm
already
saying.
have a string of women running behind you.
listen
I don't
what-
want you.
Or
Listen
you
what
don't want to compete.
No, or you would just say that for the social proof. But if you come wrong here, is a difference.
It's
what-
contextual.
This is what I say, right? Casanova. We all understand the term Casanova. Where it
I mean,
comes
I've
from.
had that happen to me before, right? From a local celebrity perspective.
We need receipts. Name
So you
him.
say, what's this?
No. I'm not doing that.
Right, okay. So you see,
Right?
It was Cass. It
But
was
it's a
Cass.
cricketer. It was actually a cricketer.
Oh God.
Right.
a local cricketer. Riyad Emirates.
No, don't
Dwayne.
remember that.
Bravo.
No. I am not even going to
Okay,
Paula.
yeah, leave it.
confirm or deny.
You had to
Listen
get to the
what
bottom
But
of
this
this,
was
Lady G.
many years ago. Many years ago. He was still very much popular, and popularity increased over time. And when he spoke to me, it was in TGI in South. When he spoke to
That's
me,
South Life different. I just had to.
don't do me that. So anyway, so you know, he came up and he spoke to me, and from my perspective, yes, he had all of these, you know, good things that I guess a lot of females would want because you want to be in that world, in the limelight, anything. And saying what was a huge turn off for me was that he acted like he was the greatest thing.
I must be the greatest thing. You see that?
So-
I must be the
She
I
said
should
that
have
though, I
been the
had an
goddess.
encounter
I
So-
should have been
as
the
well.
goddess.
Go ahead, Lady
with
G.
a
Hit us.
local
Celebrity type thing,
It
yeah.
was a long time ago too. After 51, and I was walking out with my girlfriends, and this person was eyeing me from
Hey ha.
far,
Who shall
Iowa George.
who shall remain unnamed?
Hey ha.
nameless, anonymous.
Go ahead,
And,
yes.
You know, he approached me and he's like, "Hi, good night." I was like, "Good night," but my face is like, honestly, that's just me, right? Regardless of who you are. He's like, "Good night," like, "Good night." You're looking real nice tonight, and, you know, all the nice words and pleasantries. I'm like, "Thank you," and he watch him up and down, and I'm thinking because of who he is, he figured like, you know, I would.
You would just automatically
Hey!
drop and yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, well, have a good night, right? I was like, thanks.
Okay.
And I proceeded
What
to
we playing?
the car. But my thing is that, as she was saying, my personality isn't because of, even though you're a local celebrity or whatever. No,
It's not, you're not
it's
just
just
ready
not
to drop.
me.
You're not
It's
just
not
ready
me.
to drop. And I will
And
actually
I've
go.
heard that he, women,
They do that.
they do that.
They drop. They do.
So you two have incredibly high standards, what you're saying. Like, you are not different from all the other women.
No, she-
It will never happen
And
to
I
either of you.
actually, I want to add further. This same individual, this was before, cell phones existed really in a real way. This was a while back. This was a while back. This person located my home phone number from somebody who knew me and called me at home. So he actually went further. He went. So you were saying that if Chris Hemsworth didn't go further in the Pennymed
That means you don't
supermarket,
understand. You don't understand what further is then.
Okay.
You've never been seduced. I
Let me-
can tell.
I'm just saying. He went further and he called me, and I was like,
Ladies. Let me put something in perspective.
Let's bring this back. Agent
to
King,
you
please.
guys. Let's put something in perspective.
Focus.
Ladies. To begin with, masculine energy is something that you cannot fake. You have to always be, I'm going to use a big word here, you're going to need to be perspicacious. You're going to need to be always in frame, and you're going to need to always maintain that level of allure. When this man, with all his status and whatever accolades you might want to name it, comes to you in a manner just like the regular man in the supermarket, what you immediately do is class him mentality-wise in that regard. Remember the romanticism aspect of it. However, if you had the power in the situation and he was sitting by himself in the airport lobby and you were sitting across from him and you were bored out of your mind and he kept his frame and he said, let's have a conversation, nothing crazy.
Let's have a drink. And then after, hey, there's a hotel.
For the young people that say it,
there.
he started to raise you.
You raises the hell out there.
Yeah? The raising is basically charming a woman. So he starts to raise you the right way, the way masculine men do. You would not have this conversation. You wouldn't be having this conversation with me tonight.
I doubt that.
You know how much girls co-signed Drake before Drake was Drake? I know one or two, and they legit said, no, I would have never talked to him. And then when he became with this, now I'm watching them, you two are crazy. Because
the whole game or the gist of the situation, the context of it, is that women technically want a man to be the beast, but they also want to subdue this beast. They want this beast to be the kitten for them, but turn and scare the world.
the song I said it today. Just be good to me.
Just be good to me. Okay?
Well, yeah.
So that is another impractical way to view men based on if you like this, you can't turn it off. Successful men. I'm going to also put it to you guys that this man who was this popular celebrity is a simp. Because he's severely, grossly undervaluing his play to come to you and drop himself and say, hey, give me attention, please.
Okay, like imagine if it was Prince Harry, because Prince Harry, that kind of situation, and you actually just giddy look.
No, so for me, in my scenario with this local celebrity person, I don't find he was humble enough. That was what I judged it by.
Right.
For
Understood.
me, right? He
Understood.
came up to me and you weren't humble. And that was an immediate turn off for me. So anything he can say after that doesn't matter.
I get you. I understand where you're coming from, but I want you to remember your monkey brain.
Okay.
Yeah, monkey brain.
I remember monkey
Remember
brain.
the monkey brain. And remember, think about every scenario that you ever ended up in a man with a man, in a romantic sense. What worked for him and what didn't.
Tabulate the information.
Put it in your mind that what worked for him was his masculine energy.
At a certain point,
Timing.
everything is about timing. You cannot come up to me and think you could just get everything. You have to start humble and then show me the real beast.
I think it's because,
I think
in my
she's
instance, because
full
you're
of it.
accustomed getting women to
Attention.
drop their drawers like that. He came.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
not
just
humble.
too much.
Ladies, again,
The forces of shaitan.
let's
not prevail.
really bring it back in, because we really need it back in to understand that there are certain behaviors that will get you aroused,
Yes.
right? There are certain ways men could approach women. This cold approach doesn't work. This, hey, how you going?
Hi, my name is
Nice to
Brad.
meet you. My name is, Andrew. That doesn't work.
Oh, that works for me.
But cocky doesn't work either.
Cocky does not work. No, but let me tell
my
you something.
God, the lies.
The woman that you spoke about earlier, who, let's just say, they are looking for these little check boxes in life, and that's what they're focused on generally. This local celebrity, if he had spoken to one of those girls, he was getting through because they want that. They want the attention. Oh my God, somebody who checked these 5 boxes, he's talking to me. I'm ready. She already picturing her life walking down the aisle.
Yes,
The house that she living in.
Vista Bella. You see Vista Bella Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Apparently, is that
It's
different?
Mr. Bello? Yeah,
Is
Mr.
that
Bello.
different? Is that different? Juice there was.
Listen. You said this man wasn't humble. Yet
Yeah.
still, he found your home phone number.
Right.
That, if it's not humility to me,
He break down himself.
No, doggy.
that's
No.
You
He
know how it
didn't.
is?
You know what happened? He didn't accept that I gave him a no. He needed to get a yes. He needed to turn that into a yes. And I had to pat him down and say it's a no.
so what
and it's
makes
still a
him
no.
different to the regular Joe who walks up to you and says, hey, what's up? My name is Clarence.
And I look
That
at him.
conversation seems to me to be more honest.
So when you sit back in your rocking chair at 65 and you look back on your life and you say, you know, Brian Lara come behind me.
It was
insult."
Brian. It was Brian Lara.
It was
Brian Lara.
Right? And I could have be also now in Australia being a living large, being a
I
queen
would never say that.
in your 60s. I
At
just say
60.
it, hypothetically speaking.
At 60. At 60s.
And you look at Clarence.
I would have
not saying that
already
you-
made that life for myself, so I would not be reflecting upon anyone.
Telling you, what we going to do for you? We get some holy water. We going to exercise this devil on you. I believe
there's a strong entity.
strong-
No, we just joking, but for just to bring it back in, we could agree to disagree.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah.
You know, what I would argue vehemently is that the same way you could say you blank this celebrity is the same way you would blank any man, because
Yes.
what he comes with is what he comes with.
Yeah.
Celebrities being popular doesn't necessarily mean that he's an instant panty dropper. There would be the women who would do the most, and then there would be the women with standards.
Right.
Post-suffragette women
Yes.
who understand that they have a much larger ability or much better ability to get the things that they want out of life.
What game is that I used to play there? Like the longer you hold out, you're gonna win the prize.
Oh, yes.
But it's just that everybody so you know in the back of your mind, if you had pressed more, I mean it's kind of creepy, yes.
It is creepy. Yes.
But you just say, you know what? Everybody goes on them. I'll be the one to be different. So I stand up with my shield and you stand up buff. All right, cool. So if you had
What
passed
I
the
mean-
shit test, because that's what you
It
did.
was a shit test.
Right.
You shit test him.
Yeah.
And he failed it. Had he passed the shit test because he wasn't prepared for level 2.
Right.
Yeah, that's no, okay,
mean-
I'm not going to
You
drop
may
my
not have
We
been
will
prepared for
never
level
know,
2.
guys.
Yeah.
Don't worry. As soon as Elon Musk does his time travel machine, we'll go
We'll
back
go
in
back
time
and test that.
And we'll
this,
test that theory.
test this.
So,
Test the
theoretically speaking, this man failed their shit test,
Right.
right? This could happen to any man. Point being made, though, is that though he failed your shit test, there's a bevy of pantyless women
Yep.
lined
Yeah.
up.
We
There
could
is.
just pick from.
Correct.
Yeah. So, again, it doesn't negate the fact that he's not what we would call a quintessential macho man. It doesn't take away from that. It doesn't take away from the fact that you are a modern-day woman. But what we really need to remember is that I love the monkey brain. We have to remember that controls every form of your behavior.
And I agree with that.
All right. So when we start looking at it from that point of view, we basically going to know now that every instance or situation that you find yourself into or in, you don't have much control in that scenario. You're going to be turned on or turned off based on something the other party does.
Right.
You know? So he probably missed the mark with you. And you hold that as a good thing. Yeah?
Definitely.
Right. Now, coming back to what you said earlier in the show, where you are not going to allow a man to tell you to stop doing what your mission and purpose is.
Did I say that in those words?
You didn't say that verbatim. You didn't say that
It's
verbatim.
not word for
You
word.
didn't say that verbatim.
Right, I'll paraphrase when I say that, right?
Okay.
So I'm paraphrasing.
Okay,
Right? I'll
okay.
bring it back to the scenario when he comes home and says to you, hey, baby, here was the scene. I have money now. You just stop working. Sit down and do whatever you want to do.
Right.
Account for me.
Yeah.
Right. And so just to be clear, the reason behind that would be because I would like to maintain my independence. I would like to be able to do certain things that I want to do without saying, excuse me, honey, you think I could do this today? You
Yeah.
think I could do that tomorrow? I can't
How
live
can
that
you-
life.
Listen to this. How could you say that? What you just said there with a very southern Trinidadian accent. You understand what I'm saying?
I can't do that.
You know what you just said, and you sound like a real South girl, like a South girl.
Right.
So I was like, that's not what we expect from South girls.
No, but you see, the thing is, right? I think the conversation might be misled right now, but I am saying that. However, what my mother, and I have to always come back to my parents because I'm telling you, they are the reason I am who I am today. I see my mother being. She's going to work. Now she's a housewife. And I see her still doing what she has to do on the outside, doing what she has to do in the family business, but still making the home what we deem to be very comfortable. And as a wife, I believe that I
consider
will
her-
still do that.
Do you consider her an independent woman?
Yes. 100%.
So what's your father's role in this whole situation?
Well, from what perspective?
From the sense of who is the person that you would consider to be in charge of your household? Well, was in charge of your household.
I would say
It was 50-50.
I would say there was a time for each person to be in charge. So,
Pause.
yeah.
And you have to pause right here. So there was no society that was ever led by committee and was successful. As a matter of fact, the leading by committee drives a whole lot of problems in, as we would say, the outcome of,
Right.
of a situation. So leading by committee is what women tend to do.
Right.
You put 20 women on an island, they're going to have to come to a vote to see every outcome. Whereas 20 men on an island, somebody going to assume leadership and men will just fall in line.
Oh, got
The
you.
pecking
Yeah.
order will be
So,
established.
so from that perspective, I would have to say my father.
Okay.
So there were things that my mom would have been explicitly kind of in charge of, if you so to speak.
She was allowed to be in charge.
She was, if we want to call it that.
She is fighting this thing.
No, but yes, from that perspective, I would say definitely my father
Yeah.
was the head of the household, the leader, kind of basically dictated how things would be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So though your mother imparted the culture upon you,
Yeah.
she was afforded the ability to impart the culture
Yes.
based on your father's putting his neck out there so that the wolves of the world would stay away from his family.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
So you guys being the jewel of his family, you were able to be encultured by your mother
Yes.
in a specific way. Though you were allowed to do that, somehow women of the modern world think that that is a right and a privilege. Or, well, not even a privilege, that is a right, or that is something that they must be entitled to. And when you end up in relationships with men, what you start seeing is that there's a strict competition.
Who's
the
in charge?
relationship.
In the relationship, yeah.
Who's in
Right?
charge?
Yeah.
And that is due to the fact that telling your daughters you need to be your own woman
Independent. Don't want no man control
is
you.
putting you in a frame of mind that your mother was not in. Understanding that she didn't leave her husband because she know it's harder to go out there as a single mother, whatever the case is, so she don't want that for her children.
Right.
Right? So she overshot it to the point where you now have gotten to the point where you are unwilling to relinquish your former leadership of your life.
Of my life, yes. Yes.
Keep in mind.
Yes.
Keep in mind this feminist thing. This thing that will
The suffragette movement.
this feminist thing is relatively new. It hasn't been like tried and tested.
Relatively.
And on top of that, it wasn't for you. When I say you, it definitely wasn't for you.
I feel like that.
It definitely wasn't for you. G. What I'm saying is, when the white lady was out in the States burning her bra, she didn't have you in mind for her right to do whatever the hell she was fighting for. But then apparently we saw it on TV, heard it on the radio. It's like, hey, let's do this. Because for you to fight for it, kind of disrespectful to, I guess it's back in the days before it really had a lot of interracial stuff going on. So it was like typically Indians versus Indians, Africans versus Africans, etc. So in her situation, it was never that black men was oppressing her. I guess you could say Indian men was kind of oppressing, but not really oppressing. All of us were being oppressed by, because we were all on our colony, this island, being oppressed by Europeans.
Right.
So I could understand if we was all going to fight for anti-European welfare. But then you can't come now, stab me in my back. Hey, I want my independence from you. When this happened, I was never oppressing you.
Yeah,
So you understand how feminism
enemies.
in the Caribbean shouldn't be a thing, because we was, I mean, yes, everybody should be against domestic violence. Cool.
Yeah, abuse is
I
abuse.
don't care about the amount of money you make, whatever. But in terms of the actual stance of the roles, man and female, where you're like, I want to be my own woman. It's like, yo.
So what I would say is, I believe the genesis, the what is behind the motivation behind the statement that my mother made in terms of, okay, don't ever let any man bust any style of on you. I think the motivation behind that was situations of abuse, and it could be physical, it could be emotional, and that type of thing. It wasn't just, okay, well, you just go out there and just be independent all the time. It's basically to be in a scenario where, in the event that you are in a situation that you do not like, you do not feel comfortable in, you need to have your head on and say, I can leave, and I don't have to stay, because if I don't stay, I would not survive.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I hear your point. Okay, but we're gonna wrap this topic up, because we're gonna get into the little fun before the show's over.
Okay.
All right. The suffragette movement. For the listeners, we need to bring this from the inception to where it is now. This suffragette movement is the first wave of feminism. Okay, this was the way women's right to vote and other civil rights were actually argued for. This was the white woman's plight. Okay. And in her need to garner support, she basically made it everybody's problem. In the early 60s into the 70s, black women of other genders,
Other races.
of other races, sorry. Here, that piece of mud I mix.
Yeah, packy.
Concrete mud I just mixed there.
Fighting wild.
Yikes. Yeah. Women of other races were more married. In terms of statistically, they were at a higher rate married, a higher rate fundamentally fulfilled in relationships. The white woman asked for their assistance in this battle against their white men. Okay, so that was the suffragette movement.
Right.
And that basically caused a shift in gender roles. And these things I'm going to list out here are arguably the reason for the downfall of family in the world.
Okay.
All right. So the shift in gender roles was one key aspect of the suffragette movement. Equal decision making, where I just touched on, which is leading by committee, was another key outcome of the
Right.
suffragette movement. Independence and autonomy. This was another aspect of we need our own right and say of our lives, which again, when the world was hard and people was lynching black people left, right, and center, the family needed to stick together for
Right.
survival. So the world got easier, and the first wave of feminism led into the cosmopolitan era. But before that, they also had increased awareness of gender inequality, the double standards that exist regardless of us liking them or not.
Right.
There's a reason why women get invited to parties free and men have to pay, right? But you don't hear women complaining about that.
No.
Right? So there are double standards that exist in our society.
Yes.
And we have to accept it because genders are different.
There's a reason why a man will go with a CPAP girl. No issues.
Our woman not going with a CPAP, man.
Yeah,
Right?
thank you.
So,
CPAP
well,
have
let me
all,
just say
don't
a
worry.
woman. A woman who is
Up
of a
there.
certain level.
No accountant ain't going,
Not
no
looking
CPAP.
down. All right? So, the awareness of intersectionality, I'll explain that here. Modern feminist discussions encompass intersectionality. All right? Acknowledging that women's experience are influenced by various intersecting factors, such as race, class, and sexuality. Right? Because women definitely doing whatever they want to do right now. The bisexual, pansexual, whatever it's called it. Rose! Yeah, the rose. And they kind of prompted more inclusiveness in women's rights to be whoever and whatever they want to be. All these points I just stated are the injections of instability in modern day families. So this is what drives families apart based on that. So from the suffragette movement, we move on to the cosmopolitan era, where we have on record these white women who were editors of certain magazines basically coming out and say they were making up stories to influence sensationalized stories to influence other races to join their battle of we could be free, we could be what we want.
Right.
Look, Sally living in New York City, have how much of a man she want when the day comes. She driving a Ferrari, she have this posh little poodle, she no children, she living her best life, which is a lie. Okay?
Because she's depressed, she's alone,
And she drinks to soothe herself.
she has coping mechanisms, which
Right,
is either
so-
sex or alcohol or drugs.
That's the cosmopolitan era. That was in the late 70s, 80s, 90s. Here we are in the 2000s where that ship has sailed. Now, there's no such thing as a standard of beauty for women. There's no such thing as a standard of how you carry yourself as a woman. Everything is accepted. Everything is supposed to be taken as you are, in your own right, able to do whatever you want to do. And that in itself is where our society is now. So, knowing from suffragette to cosmopolitan to modern day, how the degeneracy has gone further and further away from inclusiveness in the family,
Yeah.
we need to start pushing the conversation to have a reset. Right? The reset now would be based on the genders understanding where their strengths are and bringing them together, as opposed to just literally
Independence.
Yeah.
We have to be
Interdependent.
Interdependent, not codependent.
Rather than-
Interdependent.
codependent or independent. Interdependence is what every species needs for proliferation.
Right.
So there are a lot of mistakes that have been made in the past, and we kind of can't go back there.
Right.
So the conversation now is based on women need more humility and men need to take more responsibility.
I can see that.
Uh-oh.
I can see it. I mean, I wouldn't say that I agree 100% with everything that you just said. But I can, what I can agree with on a very basic level is that I can see how each one of those things are contributing factors in some way, in some scenarios, but not in every.
Well, that's the anomalies.
yeah.
So we talk on a general level based on you might be able to have a proper relationship with your significant other.
Right.
But think of the countless women who have, on the further end of the spectrum, the inability to pay a bond because they were lied to and told that they could have sex with whoever they want to sex.
Yeah.
As much
Gotcha.
partners, as blah, blah, blah.
So they're going to put themselves in the reject bin off the jump based on the lie that they were told.
Yes.
You know? And my issue with that is that women like yourself don't come out and speak against it. You know? Who have a better understanding of what needs to exist. Don't come out and put a stop to it and say, hey, enough is enough. You're a woman, have a little decency about yourself. Have a little understanding that your sexual marketplace value is based on your body count. Don't just run yourself into the ground because it's okay and it's free.
Yeah.
Right? Cheap
I
thing
mean,
no good, good thing no cheap.
These females were seriously misled in that specific scenario because they're just it's more like they're competing with men, and that's not what it's supposed to be. That is not, your independence is not supposed to be a competition with men. It's just supposed to be for your well-being and the betterment of your life and being able to stand up for yourself. That's what it's supposed to be, but that's kind of taking it now to this kind of extreme extent that, oh, I need to be able to do everything that a man does. Or he sleeps with 20 women, I could sleep with 20 men. That's not what it's supposed to be. So, I mean, these women are obviously,
And
misguided.
and we need women to start checking women.
Yeah.
Because men check men every day.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
will know quickly.
Interesting.
You will know quickly if
Wait.
you are.
Whoa. Was this quick jab? You're just trying to
No,
show. Men don't check men?
I'm amazed that men check men.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
One of the most common things men is telling men, you're on shit.
Yeah. He's my partner. I tell him, he will tell me, dog, you're on shit.
You're on shit.
What you doing? You know?
Okay.
And like an actual friend.
If this
Because
person is your partner. Yeah.
Yeah.
typically typically what is going on now because of the lack of pair bonding with. So you made yourself unattainable, basically. Put yourself in a kind of the high shelf, which the regular men can't reach.
Can't reach. The
So
regular
the-
man can't jump on
Was
touch
the
Nisa.
word they used? The
Pedestal?
no, not,
Oh.
I did not use that word.
no. I'll kick you off that. So I'll tell you, don't do that.
What were you looking for?
The fellas who don't get picked,
The non-select men.
the non-select men. You know what happens with what
The incels.
the incels, the non-select men? The increase of the P word.
Violence.
No, violence and the P word. You didn't realize we have a high influx of
Yeah.
that now?
Yeah.
We have real toots,
Yeah, yeah.
real ors,
So
and that's the direct result. Because, okay, I can't get you, all right.
I just gonna pay fit.
Instant gratification. Whoop.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have a lot of negative outcomes based on this feminism, the pushing for extreme, but not even extreme, pushing for feminism. Because for you to maintain your status quo, you have to allow Gina's status quo to be maintained. And if she wants to be a free, single, disengaged woman with sex every night from a different man, you kind of will be shooting yourself in the foot to say, hey, hold up yourself to the standard. Because she will come and ask you questions like,
But
where
wait,
your
now,
husband?
you not doing this? You not a virgin, are you?
You ain't no virgin. You's married.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is where
You can't take them
you can't
bullets.
be standing on the fence. You know, it's either you're a feminist or you're against the lies that have been told to women that push the family apart. Because women, just as you rightly alluded to, you want to have the independence, but you think family and having that semblance of people that you could really say push the next generation forward is more important to you as a woman. You want to be able to say, look at my grandchildren. You want to be able to say, I fostered a generation. All right? More
Probably
so,
not now with your career.
but
Well,
more so than what the career could do for you at age 66. Right? And understanding that now would mean that you will be able to vet your men a little bit better
Right.
when you go into relationships. Right? You'll be able to look at a man and say, you lost frame too quick. I don't want to.
you soft.
Yeah.
You need to
I
be
want to be able to
soft.
say, yes, baby, I will allow you to take care of me until ever. Because you could trust that this man is a man of his word. He's perspicacious. He's wise. He doesn't lose frame just like that.
So it's not
Yeah.
about losing the independence.
Independence.
It's about you becoming interdependent with
Yeah.
him.
Right.
Because you could rest assured, I could put my life in this man's hands.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He might disappoint from time to time, but on a general scale,
As they all do.
as all men do.
Oh, you see what we're doing here, right?
Yeah.
What's this job shit? What's going on here?
But we need to be over that. We need to be.
No, you need to
Allow.
acceptance.
the job?
Acceptance.
A quick job?
You see, the job to me
The
is
quick job?
okay.
You know what it is?
Because
It's
I see in that they're receptive of the.
on hood is like you get hurt and it's like I just have to lash out. Lash out. That's what it is. I don't want you to say
So
no.
we accept the job, but what we want you to understand is that the more women could come together and push the right narrative
Right.
based on, yeah, you want to be educated, yeah, you want to have the ability, just in case you make a mistake and end up with a non-select man who doesn't understand the power of masculinity
Right.
to jump off that tree.
As opposed to the statement of I don't need a man.
You don't need a man, or you're not going to give no man the right to tell you, hey, come and sit down
Because
and
ideally,
follow my lead.
you do need a man.
Yeah.
Now,
We need each other.
No, agreed.
Yeah?
We do. We
So,
do.
Bringing
We're on
all that into
127.
the conversation, the mandate or the request for the mandate is that women need to start checking other women now and stop supporting the
BS.
bullshit.
The bullshit.
You know, stop supporting the people who say Kiki Palmer could do what she want to do because she making her own money. Stop supporting the people who say you could have a OnlyFans and then end up happily married in the future with a man that you respect and admire and
Or
willing
the
to take his
people are
leadership.
supporting. You have a OnlyFans and then you're with a leader
so,
the plug.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thinking about what you're saying, for me, it's that people are taking the term, for instance, to take what my mother said, don't let any man bust any style on you, or what you said a short while ago, women could do anything they want, or they can be just as capable as men and whatever the case may be. For me, people are taking those things too literally at the end of the day. So my mother telling me, don't let any man bust any style on you, it does not mean that I cannot have interdependence with my man. My mother is not telling me don't do that, you know. She's saying be wise enough to read a situation and know when you need to leave and put yourself in a position that if you do need to, you can. So for me, I am not taking it literally. Well, anything my man could do, I can do too. That is not how I am taking it. So for me, you are kind of describing situations as such where it's, women are basically saying, well, I can do this and I can do that, and they're being aggressive with it.
Oh, so what I'm doing is basically pointing out the spectrum that exists.
Right.
So on a general scale, if you maintain my little nuance of the understanding of independence,
Right.
it allows a woman who is way off course to say, but look, you're doing this, so why I can't do that? You know, and that's where the divide happens. So while you might have a more sensible approach to this whole situation, the woman who never had a mother like yours, who
Right.
never even had a father in the home,
Yeah.
they're going to be operating in society, imparting the culture onto their children and other women, and there's no pushback on that.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
single mothers is typically make single mothers
yeah.
and single mothers and single mothers.
It's
And
a
single mothers is
generational
not
thing.
a good.
Yeah.
For society.
Not
Single mothers are actually, we get to that topic on a different
on a
day,
different day.
but that is also a side effect of the feminist narrative. Being ready and able at the sign of any kind of inconclusive masculinity that this man is showing you that he's kind of weak, at the sign or the drop of a hat, you're ready to leave.
Right.
You know, and that causes a lot more problems for the future based on your short-term sight of the situation.
Right. And I mean, obviously, the caveats on that statement would be it really depends on the scenario.
It
So
always
it might
contextual.
there might be 100 people who is in that scenario, and maybe 75% of them maybe didn't work out things that they can and stay together, but maybe the balance
And then there's the abuse and the drugs and
and they needed to leave,
you had to
basically.
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, the R word, you know.
Yeah.
So we really don't want to go into the anomalies because by and large society is ruled through the utilitarian factor.
You're right.
So when we look at that, all we men are asking for is that women start pushing back on the crazy woman. Because if we go into society and notice a man beating a woman unwarranted or taking advantage of a child, you could see what that man outcome will be in plain sight.
Right.
You know, but the women who do the most heinous things towards society on a whole are allowed to continue to be prancing and dripping and saying, well, I could do what I want to do because I am my own woman. You know, being gods unto ourselves really doesn't make the species go any further.
Yeah.
You know, so it was just a request that women of your nature, of your sensibility, all right, dear Lady G, you have something to say?
What happened? What happened?
No one knows.
Of your nature could start helping the conversation by not being necessarily a pick me or saying you're on the men's side because you still have your independence that you want to fight for. But know that when you fight for your independence, you're allowing somebody who doesn't have your background and your educational and your understanding.
At 84.
So we'll explain to you what a 84 is, right?
Yes, please do.
The 84 is the average IQ of a Trinidadian in this.
We are 125 in the world. 84 is the average IQ.
84 is the
Okay,
average
okay.
IQ.
So
right?
at 84, you got 84 too much.
You come
It
and
is
tell her
going-
84 this,
They
and
gonna
you
go
talk
wild.
here, she's
Yeah.
going to say, well, yeah, I could do whatever I want to do.
Right.
You know?
And they don't grasp the whole scope of it.
So leading by example, checking females who literally pushing the narrative even further down the wrong road is where we need to go, right? Now, with that being said, you being a woman in a relationship have to understand now if there's a man in place, this man is responsible for the relationship. You are responsible for sexual access. The man is responsible for maintaining the relationship.
Right.
So if I'm responsible to maintain something, then that means responsibility without power is slavery. Okay? I'm a slave to this relationship if I cannot say what I want for what I'm responsible for. So asking a man to come into a relationship and not allowing him to really say and put things in place the way he wants it to be put in place is really asking him to be a slave to the relationship.
Right.
Okay, so just be mindful about those other topics. All right, definitely, this was an excellent
We're on
conversation
130.
and dialogue.
We're on 133.
Right, so we went into it. We went into it tonight. Right, definitely, we appreciate you guys being here, and this was the 5th installment of the show. Let me tell you, ladies, it's a battle, but we get it. Right? Good. Any last comments? Any last remarks?
Yeah, I would just like to say thanks very much for having me. You know, the very thought-provoking conversation.
It have anywhere if somebody need to find you.
If you want to be found,
You
actually.
want to be found.
Don't look for me.
Oh, wow.
Fellas, that's it.
Okay, so basically, how you get the home number? How you get the home number? Is
Phone book, where the phone book?
Hit the Twilight Zone.
Yeesh. Lady J?
I enjoyed this one as well.
Nice.
Niche. Yeah. Yeah,
oh,
it was
you
good.
put a battery in her back, you know.
Yeah.
That's what you did.
Yeah. You see how she started to play with the birds?
No, after we had to reprogram again. God, boy.
That's your job, brother. Yeah.
God, boy.
All right, so thanks again. As usual, this is your boy Agent K. Toolman.
So, man, we're not going to do the thing. I could just put it on after.
We just handle it like that.
Adios.